Hey guys, we are doing math class, so if you do not have your math book out, go ahead and do that now. We're looking at 259 and 260. I know that we had that math test yesterday. Hopefully you guys didn't do too bad on that. Hopefully that review video over the math test kind of helped a little bit to prepare you for it. We are looking at more mixed numbers. Now, remember, we had mixed numbers, we had fractions, and we had whole numbers. And that was on your test, so hopefully you know the difference between them. Just to kind of give you a reminder a little bit, we had like a whole number was like the number 4. Any number that's just a number is a whole number because it's just a whole number all by itself. A fraction will be like 3/4, so like 3/4. And a mixed number would be if we put these two numbers together, or any other numbers, so like 6 and 1/5. That would be a mixed number. You guys should remember that from your test. You just had that yesterday. And but we're going to be doing a little bit more with mixed numbers today. So your book kind of shows what is it? Remainders, that's what they're called. Remainders, when we write a remainder as a fraction. That's just a mixed number. And when we have problems like what they give as the example, 1/5 of 33. Well, remember, this is just division. It's just dividing. We're doing 5 will go into 33 how many times? So that's 33 divided by 5. That's all that is. And we know that 5 will go into 33, I believe 6 times is what it was. 6 times 5 is 30. And 3 minus 0 is 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. 3 is smaller than 5. And that's a really, really important one, especially when we're writing our remainder as a fraction. Comparing, that's what it's called. Comparing our remainder down here with our divisor up here is very, very important. Because if we don't, then our fraction is not going to be very fractional. Okay, so our bottom number is our divisor. Top number is our remainder. That 5 was really sloppy. Okay, so if we were to not check, let's say if I was doing the same problem right here, 33, 5. If I were to make a mistake when I was dividing, so if I were to do this division and say 5 will go into 33 5 times, maybe, if you're making a mistake. And 5 times 5 is 25. 3 minus 5, well, we can't do that, so we'll borrow. This becomes 2. This becomes 1. 13 minus 5 is 8. If I weren't checking, and if I was being very careless, I would say 8 would be my top number and 5 would be my bottom number. You can't have a bigger number on top than the bottom. So that's why this would be wrong. You see that? So this would be my answer right here, and this is a mixed number. Okay? And that's kind of what we are doing here in our book right now. So let's take a look at our first section there. Number 1, it says divide to find the fractional part of each whole number. Remember to write each remainder as a fraction. So let me get this here. Letter A, 1/2 of 13. 1/2 of 13. We're just dividing. So I would have, and below in your book, it does have it written this way, 13 divided by 2. Because remember, you're just taking this number right here and dividing it by this number right here. So 13 divided by 2. Now, we already know it's not going to go into it evenly. So we'll say 2 will go into 13 how many times? Go ahead and tell me. Right. Let's try 6. 6 times 2 is, good, 12. We're going to subtract, And we know that 13 minus 12 is 1. 1 is smaller than 2. Make sure we always do that compare. 1's going to go up here. 2 is going to go down here. So my answer is 6 and 1/2. Going to write that in the blank. Okay, let's go ahead and do letter B as well. 3 will go into 22 how many times? Right, 7 times. 7 times 3 is 21. And 22 minus 21 is, of course, right, we'll do 2 minus 1, that's 1. Good. Okay, take our remainder down here. Compare it with our 3. Is 1 smaller than 3? Right, it is. So we're going to take this 1. It's going to be my top number in my fraction. And what number am I going to use for my bottom number? Right, this is right here, my 3. Okay, good. Make sure you have that written down. This is your answer. Let's go and do this. Underneath it has 41 divided by 5. 5 will go into 41. How many times? Right, let's try 8. 8 times 5 is, right, 40. And we're going to do our ones place. 1 minus 0 is, right, 0. That one's easy. And 4 minus 4 is 0. Right, that was an easy one. And is 1 smaller than 5? Right. So we're going to take our remainder down here. It's 1. I know it kind of is reflecting on the board a little bit. Sorry about that. So 1 is going to be my top number. And then my divisor over here, 5, is going to be my denominator. What I want you to do right now, pause the video, finish D, E, and F. See if you can do the same thing, okay? When you are finished with those, go ahead and continue the video. We'll go over those together. Make sure you get the right answer. Okay, you should have D, E, and F all done. So let's go ahead through those. 4 will go into 29. How many times? Yeah, let's try 7. 4 times 7 is, right, 28. And if I am going too fast for you, like when I'm doing the 4 times 7, you can pause it at any time so that you can kind of think about it a little bit, okay? That was always an option for you guys, okay? Just wanted to make sure I mentioned that, okay? 4 times 7 is 28. 9 minus 8 is, right, 1. 2 minus 2 is 0. Is 1 smaller than 4? Right. So we're going to take my bottom number down here, my remainder. It's going to be my numerator. And this 4 over here is going to be my denominator. Letter E, 1 over 8. So 1/8 of 59. Ooh, we're getting some bigger numbers here. Okay, 59 divided by 8. So now we're having to do this division right here. 8 will go into 59. How many times? Well, I know 8 times 8 is, right, 64. So 8 times 8 is 64. That's already too big. So I know that 8 times 8 is not going to work because 64 is bigger than that 59. So let's try, what's underneath 8 times 8? 8 times, right, 8 times 7. So 8 times 7, so if you can't remember that off the top of your head, 7 times 7 is 49. 7 times 8 is, right, 56. So I think 56 will work because 59 is a little bit bigger than 56. So we'll go, 8 will go into 59 7 times. 7 times 8 is, we just said it, 56. Subtract. 9 minus 6 is 3. And 5 minus 5 is, of course, 0. Now, is 3 smaller than 8? Right, it is. So that means that our number up here should work. So 3 is going to be my numerator up here, I know I wrote that a little bit smaller, and my denominator is going to be 8 right here. So that should be 7 and 3/8. That's how we say these numbers, 7 and 3/8. Okay, so you say your whole number and your fraction. 7 will go into 50 how many times? All right, let's try it. Let's try 7, if that's what you said. 7 times 7 is, we just said that one too. 7 times 7 is 49. Good. 49 goes right here. And 50 minus 49, well, let's try 0 minus 9. We can't do that, so we're going to have to borrow. 5 is going to become, right, 4. 0 is going to become 10. We know 10 minus 9 is 1, right? And 4 minus 4, of course, is 0. And is 1 smaller than 7? Right, it is. 1's going to go up here as my remainder. 7 is going to be my bottom number, my denominator. So I have 7 and 1/7 as my answer. Okay, that's all of number 1. So number 1 is all finished. Let's look at those story problems at the bottom of the page. Number 2, letter A, says, Sophia checked out a book with 36 pages. On Saturday, she read 1/4 of the book. How many pages did she read? And this is just like yesterday's story problem. I'm sorry. It's asking 2 questions. How many pages did she read? First question. Second question, how many pages are left? So this is asking 2 different questions. So we're going to have to figure out 2 different answers. Let me move that out of the way. So how many pages does this book have? It said it had 36 pages. And we need to figure out how much, first of all, how much did she read? Well, it says she read 1/4 of the book. So she read 1/4 of those 36 pages, which we know how to do. This is just division. 36 divided by 4. 4 will go into 36 how many times? Right. Let's try 9. 9 times 4 is, right, 36, and that equals 0. So this is how many pages she read. So she read 9, right, 9, we'll say 9 pages read, because it's asking us 2 separate questions. It's saying how many pages did she read, and then it's saying how many pages does she have left. So I'm going to step in front of this. So if you don't have this work copied down, take opportunity to do so now. Okay, she has 9 pages that are read, but the second question is asking how many pages does she have left. Now I know the words have left is a clue word. Clue word that tells me that I need to do what? Add, subtract, multiply, or divide. Right. Whenever we have read as a clue word, it tells me that I need to subtract. So I have 36, because that's how many pages are in the book, and then I have how many pages she's read so far. Well, I just found out how many pages she read. So I have 9, and of course have left tells me I need to subtract. So 36 minus 9, well, 6 minus 9, we can't do that. So we're going to have to do what? Right, we're going to have to borrow. 3 is going to become 2. 6 is going to become 16. And now I have to do 16 minus 9. So 16 minus 9 is what? Right, it's 7. And this 2 right here, well, there's nothing here, so that's basically 2 minus 0, or 2 minus nothing. So that's 2 right here. So that's 27. 27 what? Right, this is how many pages she's read. So this is how many pages there are left. So we'll say 27 pages left. And we'll say, so this would be your first answer. This would be your second answer. Letter B Mr. Lee has 15 feet of oak boards and 16 yards of pine boards. How many feet of wood does he have? Well, oak boards and pine boards are both wood. So we need to, let's see, we're going to add, subtract, multiply, or divide this. My question is saying, how many feet of wood does he have? Now, could I say how many feet of wood does he have all together or in all? Right, it wouldn't change the meaning of that. So that means I would be doing what? Add, subtract, multiply, or divide. Right, if I have in all or all together, that means I'm going to add. So I need to add these two things together, but he has 15 feet and he has 16 yards. I can't add 16 and 15 together if they're yards and feet. So I need to change one or the other. So let's go ahead and write it this way. Let's see, he said 15 feet. We said we're going to add. So it's plus 16 yards. Now, my final answer is going to be blank. What? What did I say my final answer? How many? Look at your short problem. How many? Right. How many feet of wood? So my final answer needs to be in, right, feet. So we just did one of these problems a couple days ago. So when I have this problem, I'm going to ignore all of this front part right here because I'm worried about what my final answer is in. My final answer is in, right, it's in feet. So I'm just going to copy down this equals blank feet because my final answer is not going to change. But over here, I have something else that's not going to change. If it's already in feet, it doesn't need to change. So what over here does not need to change. It's going to stay the same. Right, this feet over here, because it's already in feet. So let's just copy this down. 15 feet. Is my addition sign going to change? No, it's not going to change. So we're just going to copy that down too. So that means this right here is in yards. And yards is not the same thing as feet, so we need to change that as well. So underneath, we're going to put blank. We're going to put feet, because it's changing. And we'll box it. So underneath this, steps 1, 2, and 3. Okay, we know step 1 is either larger to smaller or smaller to larger. Going yards to feet, is that larger to smaller or smaller to larger? Right, yards is bigger, so we're going larger to smaller means we're going to, right, multiply. We're just putting a multiplication sign right there. Step 2, my special number. How many feet are in a yard? How many feet are in a yard? Right, there's 3. So 3 is going to be my special number. 3 is right here. And my last step is just do the math. So I'm going to take whatever number's in this box. I'm going to either multiply or divide it by whatever number is our special number. So 16 times 3. Let's write that down. All right, 6 times 3 is, right, 18. Good. And 3 times 1 is, right, 3 plus 1 is, good, 4. 48's down here. It's going to get put up here. Right? 48 does not go over here, though. Remember that. So we have 15 plus 48. They're both in feet, so we can add them together. Okay, I'm just going to write 48 right here so that I can add them together because this is 2-digit. That's kind of a bit much for my brain to do, so I need to write it down. 8 plus 5 is, right, 13. 3 goes down here. 1 gets carried. 4 plus 1 is, right, 5 plus 1. Good, 6. So my answer is 63. But I'm not done until my answer gets written over here. So 63 goes here. 63 goes here, and that's my answer. All of page 259 should be finished by now. We did all of it together. We are now going to page 260. Now, in 260, I'm going to cut some of this out again, just like I did on the last page. So we're going to do 3, we're going to do 4, 5. I don't know if you need my help with number 5, because I think you guys have the temperatures down pretty well. I'll do letter A with you. If you need help with letter B, you might ask mom and dad, or you can email me, or put a comment down if you need extra help with that. Number 6, we'll just do A, B, and C for number 6. Okay, we just learned how to do that on the last page, so it'll be a good review for us. Number 7, we'll just do A, B, and C for number 7. Don't worry about doing the brain booster or the homework. If you would like to, I'm not going to stop you, but don't worry about doing it. I want you to take this opportunity, pause the video, do page 260, do as much of it as you can on your own, and when we come back, we'll finish up this page and do it together. You make sure you have the right answers. So go ahead and pause the video now and finish up this page. Okay, you should have page 260 finished. If not, we'll go over it. If you do have it finished, still, let's go over it. Make sure you have the right answers so we make sure we know what we're doing. We're not making any silly mistakes. Divide, multiply, subtract, compare, and bring down. Those are our steps. We'll do division first. 9 will go into 3 how many times? Right, it's just 0. Okay, and we can actually do a shortcut here. If we have 0, we can skip all of these steps and just go straight up, back up to division, go to my next number. So that would be 7 right here. Okay, but we still need to use this 3 since we didn't use the multiply, subtract, compare, all those steps on it. So we're just going to go from 9 goes into 3 to 9 goes into 7, but we're still using that 3, so it's not just 7, it's 9 goes into 37, right? So 9 will go into 37 how many times? Okay, let's try 4. 4 times 9 is, good, 36. Subtract. 7 minus 6 is, right, it's just 1. And 3 minus 3 is 0. Is 1 smaller than 9? Of course it is. Okay, after we compare, we're going to bring down this 2. Okay, 9 will go into 12 how many times? Let's try 2. 2 is going to go right above that 2. 2 times 9 is, good, 18. I am seeing a problem. My problem is I have 12 and 18. 18 is bigger than 12, so can I do 12 minus 18? No. So that means 18 is too big, which means this 2 up here is also too big. So we're going to have to erase this 18. If you caught that before I mentioned it, good job. Okay, so 18 was too big, that 2 was too big, so if 2 is too big, what's the only other number we can really use? Right, it's 1. So let's try 1. 1 times 9 is, right, 9. And 12 minus 9, well, even if I end up borrowing, I'm still going to be doing 12 minus 9. So 12 minus 9 is, right, 3. Carry this, oh, I'm sorry, we almost skipped comparing. Compare. 3 is smaller than 9, of course. And bring down this 1. 9 will go into 31 how many times? Right. Let's try 2 again. 2 times 9 is 18. And just by looking at it, I think that whatever I'm going to get is going to be a lot bigger than 9. So I think that 2 is still going to be too small. So I guess we're not going to be using 2 in this problem. So I'm going to erase that 18. So that 2 is too small. Let's try the number above that. 3. 3 times 9 is, right, 27. That looks a lot better. So I'm still having a problem because I have that 1 minus 7. So we're going to have to borrow. 3 is going to become 2. 1 is going to become 11. And 11 minus 7 is, right, it's 4. And 2 minus 2, of course, is 0. 4 is smaller than 9, so it's a good comparison. And now I'm going to bring down, I don't have any more numbers to bring down. So this number is going to have to be my remainder. So I'm going to have remainder 4. Remainder 4. And now I need to check. If you haven't already checked, go ahead and pause the video and do the check yourself. You're just taking this number up here, 413 times 9, and then you're going to add 4. Okay, let's go ahead and check. Okay, 9 times 3 is 27, carry the 2. 9 times 2 is, 9 times 1, it's a 1, not a 2. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 2 is 11. 9 times 4 is, good, 36, plus 1 is 37. Now, my problem, of course, is that 3,717 is not the same as 3,721, but I do have this 4 up here, so let's add it. So 7 plus 4 is 11, carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Carry down the 7. Carry down the 3. Now I have 3,721, which matches very nicely with 3,721. And my answer is checked. All right. Make sure you have this copied down correctly. If you did this work earlier and you got it incorrect, maybe erase it, go back, rework the problem, see if you can get the same answer that I did. Okay, make sure your answer is correct. First thing, just copy down this n plus 6 equals, and now we need to solve this over here. This 13 minus 7 times 2. So 13 minus 7, well, let's go and just cross that out so that we can solve it. 13 minus 7 is, right, it's 6, and then I have 6 times 2. What is 6 times 2? Right, it is 12. And now I have n plus 6 equals 12. I have to do something with this addition sign. What do I do with it? Right, I do the opposite. So if it's an addition sign, it becomes subtraction. If it was a subtraction sign, it becomes addition sign. So now it's minus. We're going to copy this same number down, put that equal sign down, and whatever we just wrote down right here, copy down the same thing over here. So if we put minus 6 right here, over here we're going to put minus 6. Minus 6. I'm going to draw a line right there so that we can solve. N plus 6 minus 6 equals, well, what do we have left over here? Right, it's just that n. We're going to put it equals, and now we need to solve this over here. 12 minus 6, right, it's just 6. So my answer is n equals 6. And let's go and check that real quick. We're just going to take whatever was up here and copy it straight down here. Just check. N plus 6 equals 13 minus 7 in the parentheses times 2. We said earlier, n was equal to 6. So we're going to erase that n and put 6 there, since n is equal to 6. So now it's 6 plus 6. Well, we know 6 plus 6 is, no, not 36. That's 6 times 6. 6 plus 6 is 12, right? So we have this over here. 13 minus 7, again, is 6, and 6 times 2 is, right, it's 12. And is number 12 equal to the number 12? Right, it is. So we are going to go ahead and check that. So that is correct. Okay, again, if you did not have this answer, erase it, maybe rework it, see if you can get the same answer that we have right here. Make sure you have the correct answer. I said that I would do number 5 with you, or at least letter A. I want you to do both letter A and B, but I'll just go over letter A with you just so that we make sure we get a good refresher in. Okay, this one I kind of do need to show the book a little bit to make sure that we have it. Letter A is right here. So this is degrees Fahrenheit, so make sure your answer down here will be written in degrees Fahrenheit. We have 70 to 80. Those are my big lines, but I have those smaller lines between. And my red line ends between 2 lines. Those lines are equal to even numbers. So the 70 and that line is 72, 74, 76, 78, and then 80. So if I have 70, 72, 74, 76, my line is right between that 74 and 76. What number is between 74 and 76? Right, it's just 75. So down here, you are going to write 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Make sure you write that, 75 degrees Fahrenheit, not just 75, 75 degrees Fahrenheit. So make sure you have that written down and do the same thing for here, except it's not in Fahrenheit, it's Celsius. Okay? Moving on to number 6. They want you to round to the nearest dollar. Letter A, we're only doing A, B, and C. We have $6.23. We're looking at this 2 right here. So is this 2 going to tell us that we're going to round up, or are we going to stay where we are? So we're either going to stay at $6 or we're going to go up to $7. This 2 tells me I'm going to, right, I'm going to stay right at $6. Okay, that's letter A. Letter B, let me write this. $25.91. Okay, same thing. This tens place in my cents after my decimal point of this cents is 9. This 9 is either going to tell me I'm going to round up to $26 or we're going to stay down at $25. So 9 is really close to my next 10 up. So I'm not going to stay down at $25. I'm going to round up to $26. So $26. So up here is $6. Down here is $26. Okay? And letter C. Let's just write it over here. $2.50. Okay? We have this 5 right here. 5 is either going to round up to the next one, or it's going to or we're going to stay down at $2. So either $2 or up to $3. Okay? Now, 5 is one of those numbers, and I understand this. It's like exactly in the middle. But they just, whenever they were figuring out how to do rounding, they just said, if it's 5, just going right up. Just goes up to the next number. So 5 is going to go up to the next number, which means it's not going to stay at $2. It's going to go to $3. Right. Number 7. This will be our last 3 that we do. Okay. Number 7. we have letter A, 10 over 12. That's my fraction. 10 over 12 equals blank. So 10 over 12 equals blank. I need to figure out what number will go into 10 and go into 12. So they're both even numbers. So let's try 2. Will 2 go into 10? Yeah. And 2 will also go into 12? Yeah. So let's try it. 10 and 12. We're going to divide, because that's what you do when we reduce. Make sure you can see that division sign. Okay, 10 divided by 12. We're going to do 2 on my top number of my fraction and on my bottom number. So we're going to divide across the top, divide across the bottom. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. 12 divided by 2 is 6. My answer is 5 over 6. Okay, letter B, 4 over 16 equals blank. 4 over 16 equals blank. So we have 4 over 16. What number will go into 4 and into 16? Yes, 2 will go into 4 and 16. There's another number that's bigger that will go into both 4 and 16. Let's try 4. Will 4 go into 4? Yep. Will 4 go into 16? Absolutely. So 4 will go into 4 and 16, so we'll write it out like this. Divided by, can we see that? Good. Divided by 4 on the top and 4 on the bottom. And we'll just divide across the top, divide across the bottom. We know 4 divided by 4 is 1. Any number divided by itself is always 1. And my bottom number, 16 divided by 4 is, right, it's 4. So my answer is 1/4. Good. Wonderful. Last problem. Letter C. 8 over 48. That one's a big number. But I know we can do it. Okay? 8 and 48. Now, they're both even. So 2 can go into both of these numbers. But 4 can go into 8. And I know 4 times 12 equals 48. But I also know 8, of course, will go into itself. Will 8 go into 48 too? Right, it will. How many times will 8 go into 48? Right, 6 times. So let's use 8. So we'll do 8 over 48. I think you guys can see that one better. Divided by, we said 8 over 8. Divide across the top, divide across the bottom, and it equals, well, 8 divided by 8, we just said any number divided by itself is 1. So it's 1 on the top. 48 divided by 8, right? It's 6, just like we said earlier. 48 divided by 8 is 6, and my answer is 1/6. Right? Like I said earlier, don't worry about doing like number 6. We're only doing A, B, and C. 7, we're only doing A, B, and C. Don't worry about the brain booster. Don't worry about the homework. Okay? Just trying to cut it down a little bit. If you need help with any extra things, put it in the comment section on RedWeb. Let me know so that I know that maybe I can make like an extra video going over something if you need help with it. Okay? Have a good rest of the day and see you next time.